Warning, this video will not be talking in favor for Season 3 of Good Omens. If you are a fan of Good Omens Season 3, this may not be the video for you. As well, if you get irritated with people with speech impediments, especially one that sounds like a lisp or whatever, or just general horrible pronunciation of words, for example, I say Azezafal, and many other words wrong. Viewer discretion advised.
Good Omens Season 3 is poorly written, and I understand why. They had to take a big pivot when Neil Gaiman got axed as showrunner and the original plan of the 6-episode season was thrown out the window. And we should be lucky that we got what we got, because it took a fight just to make sure that there was some semblance of an ending. But did that mean that we had to cram all the episodes into one? I'm going to be rude when I say this, but I have seen better, well thought out plots within 30-minute short films than what I saw in this season. But I give them the benefit of the doubt. Because maybe they had to have some established writing and had to keep up with the hired actors. I don't know how contracts work. All I know is that I did not like this season. David Tennant and Michael Sheen, I assume, are not cheap actors to keep on set, which makes sense. They're classically trained and they're very good at their job. But oh my lord, did all the money go towards them? I feel bad because you can see the set design get less funding as the show goes on. From season 1 to season 3, there is a big difference. And in this season, there was just a big blue billboard that had gears painted on it to represent that Soho was under construction. It was sad to see. Honestly, it irritated me every time I saw it. And I say this with a caveat because then we might find out that Michael Sheen and David Tennant did this pro bono and then I just seem like a jackass. But the budget was clearly cut. Amazon cut the budget. You know, Amazon, the billion-dollar company. And I do think they did this because they kind of wanted to sweep Good Omens under the rug after the allegations instead of just properly discontinuing work with that slime ball. And you might be thinking, who am I to have an opinion so mean? Well, me. If some people can be jackasses and have opinions on who gets to use the bathroom, I can make a video about why I didn't like an ending of a TV show. Anyway, speaking about actors, controversial take, and I need you to hear me out. Aziraphale and Crowley are not good main characters because they are not originally written to be main characters. In the book, more so, they are side characters. Yes, very important to the plot, but they are not main characters. That is Adam and his bunch. So what happens when you turn a side character who is important and give them their own show? You get the TV show Joey. Sometimes this works out. Sometimes you get a Frasier, but most of the time you just get a private practice. That's actually kind of how I feel about season 2, but we're not talking about season 2 right now. The point that I am trying to get on is that characters, primarily side characters of side characters, tend to be very washed out. And that's kind of what happened here. There are so many storylines in this season that go nowhere. Like the girl whose sister forgave her, the crime boss that had a heart attack, the man who misses his son. None of that gets resolved. And they didn't even show a conclusion in the reboot universe. Probably because they ran out of time, which brings me to the question of why even put it in. When I first saw that the story was going to be about finding Jesus after losing him, I thought it was going to be like almost a parallel to the first season, which I think could have been accomplished within 90 minutes. And it would have been amazing to see that be what repairs Aziraphale's and Crowley's relationship. It's a simple plot that has been done in movies before where they almost rehash the first story for the last movie. However, they just put a bunch of random stuff in it that has no bearing on the plot. They did not need the Book of Life plotline. They had a solid storyline with just finding Jesus. Oh, the Book of Life. See, I thought the twist was going to be that the book doesn't really matter and that God just gave it to the angels to give them like a false sense of power. You know, the same way she does it with the humans. But no, the universe is just destroyed. All these characters that we have grown to love are no more. No proper ending, no circle ending. Just Thanos snapped. All of season 1 with Adam, Agamina, Newton, Crowley, Azazafel learning that they don't have to be defined by their pre-established notions of who they are and who they got to be, gone. And here's the thing. I fully believe that Crowley and Azazafel would give themselves up for humanity. But they didn't have to. Their story didn't have to end in this it was all just a dream type ending. But it did. You could say their story ended with them being buried. Although, maybe this is their happy ending. Being part of giving humans a chance. And if I analyzed even a little bit deeper, I could say that there is a resemblance of real-life queer people giving up their future for the possibility and the continuation of queer relationships and community. And that can be satisfying. I can be satisfied with that ending. The same way that I am satisfied with the hundreds of other queer media that ends with the main character not receiving the traditional happy ending. But who to say? Who to say that the traditional ending for a queer relationship isn't to be sacrificed for the better future? Because we can never just be happy now. Another issue that irritated me about the reboot ending is that they took the fantasy out of it. Personally, that was one of my main draws to Good Omens, was that it was about demons and angels and witches. I love that shit. That is like my jam. And now I know that this ending doesn't retroactively change everything. But there's still going to be a little part in the back of my mind when I rewatch season 1 that this is the canon ending. The main reason why I like Azazafel and Crowley is because they're an angel and a demon working together. That's kind of the joke. But best of luck to Asa and Anthony, 2 human men I know nothing about. And anything I apply will just be a headcanon based off of characters that have completely different experiences than you. Yeah. Also, I don't care that they didn't kiss. Love is shown in so many different ways. When I originally read the book, I thought they were just in a relationship. The concept of them pining after each other didn't really come to me until the show. In conclusion, season 3 is exactly what I expected. And I feel everything and nothing about that. I want to sit here and say that it doesn't bother me because at the end of the day, I still have the book. The book that I love and cherish, the book written by Terry Pratchett and someone he considered a friend. But when I look at these characters, when I read these characters, I know that there's going to be a little voice that says, they're going to die. That everything in this universe will be destroyed and almost like nothing matters. I feel like I should end this on a much, happy note. But